Hi, grade twos. Don't forget to take out your reader response journal, any post-it notes, pencils, anything you need. As I read chapter 3, I want you to be able to think about what you think the chapter is going to be titled, drawing pictures of anything that you thought helped you as a reader visualize what was happening, any predictions you think are going to happen in the next chapter, and any questions. So on your post-it notes, you can write down any questions you might have as you are listening to the story, because that's what good readers do. So hopefully you look at your prediction and see if it comes true for chapter 3. Enjoy the reading. Hey, grade twos. We are on chapter 3 of Freckle Juice. I know it's been a slow process of reading this chapter book, so hopefully you remember what's going on. I'll give you a quick little synopsis of what's happening. Chapter 1, Andrew wanted to learn how to get freckles, and his classmate Sharon, who he's not a fan of, told Andrew that she could get him the freckle juice recipe. So we are now at the end. Oh, and then in chapter 2, remember when he got caught with the note and his teacher decided to give it back to him at the end of the day. So now chapter 3, it looks like he is after school racing home to hopefully try to make this freckle juice recipe. Andrew ran all the way home. Then he remembered he had to go to Miss Burrow's house to get the key. The secret recipe for freckle juice was folded carefully in the bottom of Andrew's shoe. He was going to put it inside of his sock, but he was afraid if his foot got sweaty, the ink might blur and he wouldn't be able to read it. So inside his shoe was safe enough. Have you ever put anything in a safe place? Maybe in a wallet, in a purse, in a piggy bank? So inside his shoe was safe enough. Even if it was windy, nothing could happen to it until he made up his mind not to read it until he got home. He didn't want to waste any time getting there, and he wasn't the world's fastest reader anyways, even though he'd gotten better since last fall. Still, there might be some hard words that would take a while to figure out. Andrew pressed Mrs. Burrow's doorbell. Ding dong. "Hello, Andrew," she said when she opened the door. "You're home from school early." "I ran all the way home," Andrew panted. "How about some milk and cookies?" Mrs. Burrow asked. No, thank you. I just want the key." "Well, come in, Andrew. Your mother's in the living room." Andrew followed Mrs. Burrows. His mother was dealing 4 piles of cards. "Hi, Mom. I came for the key." "Manners, Andrew, manners. Don't you want to say hello to all the ladies?" Mrs. Marcus asked. "Oh, hello," Andrew said. Mrs. Marcus reached for her purse. She opened it and gave Andrew the key. "Change your clothes and play outside. I'll be home by 4 o'clock." That only gave him an hour. He hoped the recipe didn't say to cook anything. He wasn't allowed to turn on the stove or the oven. Andrew dashed to his house, unlocked the front door, and took off his shoes as soon as he went inside. He pulled out the secret recipe and sat down on the floor to read it. It said, "Sharon's secret recipe for freckle juice. 1 glass makes an average amount of freckles. To get like Nikki Lane's, you need to drink 2 glasses. Mix all of these things together, stir well, and drink fast." Okay, grade 2s, are you ready for this list of ingredients? Grape juice. Yum. Vinegar. Mustard. Mayonnaise. Juice from 1 lemon. Pepper. Salt. Ketchup. Olive oil. And a speck of an onion. P.S. The faster you drink, it's the faster you'll get freckles. Andrew read this list twice. It didn't sound like much of a secret recipe. His mother used all those things every day. Of course, she didn't use them together. Maybe that was the secret part. Well, he'd paid 50 cents. He might as well find out. He climbed up on the kitchen counter so he could reach the cabinets. He found everything except the lemon. That was in the refrigerator. And the onion. Mrs. Marcus kept onions in the basement in a bin. Andrew ran downstairs and selected a small one, since the recipe only called for a speck. With or without the skin? Andrew wondered. He chose a big blue glass. He'd start with just one glassful and then drink another if he wanted more freckles. No point in overdoing it the first time. That's what his mother always said. Now first the grape juice. Andrew thought he filled the glass halfway and added an ice cube. All drinks tasted better cold, and he was sure this would too. Then he added the other ingredients one by one. His mother had two kinds of vinegars, wine vinegar and plain vinegar. Andrew picked the wine one. He put some hot mustard, 1 spoonful of mayonnaise, and plenty of salt and pepper. Then some ketchup. That was hard to pour. I wonder why ketchup is hard to pour. But what about the olive oil? His mother had vegetable oil, but no olive oil. Maybe the stuff that looks like water in the olive jar was what Sharon meant. He put in a few spoonfuls of that. Now for the lemon. Andrew cut one in half and squeezed. Oh no, a seed dropped in by mistake. He picked it out with a spoon. He hated pits in his juice. Now all he needed to do was a speck of onion, and he was all set. He stirred up the drink, and it smelled. Oh, it smelled awful. Just plain awful. He'd had to hold his nose while he drank it. He stuck his tongue into the glass to taste it. Ugh, terrible. He didn't know how he would ever manage to get it down, and fast, too. It said to drink it fast. Ah, that old Sharon. She probably thought it wouldn't be able to drink it. Well, he'd show her. He'd drink it all right. Andrew held his nose, tilted his head back, and gulped down Sharon's secret recipe for freckle juice. Have you ever tasted something that you did not like the smell of and you had to close your nose so then you wouldn't smell what you were trying to drink or taste? He felt like throwing up. It was that bad. But if he did, he'd never get freckles. No, he would be strong. Andrew crept into his mother's bedroom. He didn't feel well enough to walk. He sat on the floor in front of her full-length mirror. He waited for something to happen. Chapter 4. I hope you enjoyed that read aloud. I should have said this at the beginning. I will add it to the beginning of this video. Make sure that you have your reader response journal and your post-it notes just in case if you had any questions or comments. And remember, good readers ask questions as they read, they draw pictures as they listen to the story, and they predict what they think is going to happen next. And hopefully now you can give chapter 3 a title. Have a great day. Bye, grade 2s.